All right, Walshy here, and I have a very special guest today. I'm going to be interviewing Snip3down, who just recently won the AGL Chicago event. And going to ask him a few questions. Put it out on Twitter a few days ago saying submit your questions to me, so I'm going to be asking your questions live from Twitter, and I got him right here on the Skype call, so I'll just switch right over that right now. And how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Just relaxing.
So I'm just going to get right into it, go straight to these Twitter questions I have. And had a lot of people asking this. So first one, this one isn't even exactly directed towards you, but someone says, at Rico says, with Carbon making their comeback, what do you feel about that? They asked me and then also you, what does that mean for the future for me? And then also, I don't know, I'm sure that has to have some sort of like nostalgic effect for you because obviously this is a little before you even started competing, like seeing like Carbon, and we don't have a defined roster yet, but me and you were both speculating about this before we actually started this interview, saying what the roster was going to be. So what are your thoughts?
You gotta always love the old teams coming back together. I'm sure everyone would love to see a final boss return. So, uh, I never really got to play against the Halo 2 Carbon teams. I know that was some of the best competitive days. A lot of people look back on Halo 2 as, maybe the best competitive shooter. And a good team like Carbon coming back is really gonna, I feel like, bring some older fans back into the game, into the competition. It'll be awesome competing against some of those, well-known veterans that made me want to get out and become a professional gamer because they were inspiring me to, play competitively and play my best every single game. And uh, playing against them in an event, even knocking them out, would just be extremely satisfying. Whether played against them before or are just an up-and-comer, just playing against players like that is just a great opportunity.
So for those that don't know, the old school legendary Carbon roster consisted of Karma, Gandhi, Shockwave, and oh my
Goes to
god,
them.
Ghostiami, of course. So we were doing speculation. We're not sure exactly who would come back on this roster. My speculation is that it'd be a roster that has Sergio involved with there because he's been gaming a lot, and I could definitely see them. I have seen him and Shockwave play together quite a bit. Next question was, what was it like when you won your first MLG event?
Oh wow, it goes back to Orlando 2008. It was my third event. Um,
It was against us in the finals.
it was. Uh, you know, Wait, Orlando was against Straight Rippin in the finals.
Oh, that's right. You guys beat us the following event, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, that's right. You
Uh,
won two events back to back on two separate teams.
yes, I did. People still ask me questions about why I left Triggers down after winning a tournament, but that's a whole nother story. That's just team chemistry not really there, just game types working together. But winning my first event is always just something I'll remember. I was playing out of my mind that event. It was just one of those where, luck was on my side. I would throw a sticky nade across the map and I would catch a foot. Like it was just everything seemed to be going my way. I had SK, probably one of his best tournaments of his, Halo career. I know everyone on my team wanted to win an event. No one had before. It was me, Hysteria, and SK, and Fear itself. And everyone was, none of them had gotten first place before. I know all of us were really living in the spotlight. I got my first snipe down chant at that event. Um, I was just a real big up and comer, and I had a lot of support at the time, and it really just drove me to play my best. And I got the results I was always looking to get, and it was just extremely, extremely satisfying.
That's awesome. And second part of this question, the guy was asking, how was it winning AGL Chicago?
Oh man, it's been a while since I've won a tournament. I've been getting second and third a lot. My last event win was actually Columbus 2009. So that's a while
I
ago.
don't even
And
want to remember when my last one was, man.
it's 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 you miss that feeling. And AGL is still building up to become a really good league. They're getting better and better every single event. Um, it was even more satisfying getting revenge on Warriors for them beating us at Dallas and beating them in the dominant fashion that we did. But first place finish is always just the party at the end of the night is always that much better. You don't have any sour taste in your mouth from getting second place. You just can just enjoy your entire night, and really nothing can bring you down.
Well, speaking of that, one person asked a question. I can't find it on here right now because we had so many submitted in. There was someone asking, you had posted something, I believe, prior to AGL that you were planning on retiring or getting out of the scene. And then afterwards, you instantly tweeted something to the effect, this isn't verbatim, but you're like, well, as long as there's tournaments around for me to win, I'm going to stick around and play.
Yeah.
So what was that all about?
Yeah, coming into this event, I'm almost getting out of college, getting my degree. I gotta find a real job out there, and I saw that Halo was not getting picked up by MLG, and it was just one of those where it felt like it was coming to an end. But then AGL came out, said they're doing all these events. I've seen a bunch of people coming out saying, they're trying to get stuff together and work on stuff. We recently got a sponsor, Pulse Esports, and they've been, pushing us to keep playing, and they're paying for us to go to Dallas to play Call of Duty. Um, and I love video games. I love competing. After this past AGL, I really, and I would miss it. I would miss it. I really would. And um, when I got home, I just thought about it, and I was like, I can't just give it up. Whether even if I got second place, I wouldn't be able to give it up. Just too meaningful to me, and who I've become. So I got to just keep going.
No, that makes sense. I think a lot of people kind of got discouraged once that MLG news came out, because we, as a Halo community, let's not lie, we were entirely dependent on MLG. We didn't really have many other leagues out there supporting it. We didn't go out and do as much on our own compared to like the Call of Duty scene, where they've had different tournaments for them, or a lot of those guys kind of branched off and did more YouTube scenes and all these different money-making ventures. Whereas ourselves, we've kind of been spoiled, and kind of it also has hindered us in some ways, where we're like, oh, well, we have MLG, so what else do we have to worry about? And
I was saying, Call of Duty's been kind of flying under the radar, just like right behind Halo the entire time. It was always there. It never really surpassed Halo, because people see the skill difference in the two games. But Call of Duty picked up some good people like Hastro to help out and become that competitive number one first person shooter game that they were just waiting to become the entire time. That league play, they really have a good competitive system going, and you got to respect players like Nadeshot that put out all that content, didn't get discouraged that MLG didn't pick up Call of Duty, was still there putting out content after content, and they really got a good opportunity, and I hope it does well for them, and I hope it does well for me too. So.
So some people are asking, actually I've had quite a few ask this as well, but Macernist, or M.A. Arsonist, asked, what was the secret behind the sudden win over a team that practiced more than his? Because obviously there was I didn't get to watch as much on Sunday, I was telling you this, but Sunday, from what I understand, there's quite a bit of trash talk, especially supposedly from like Ryan Noob and Ninja. I'm not sure amongst who it was, but you could obviously answer that.
It really goes back to Dallas. We played Warriors in the finals, and they were talking a lot of trash for a team that played a little bit early, and we didn't appreciate that at all. It kind of ticked us off that they could really feel like they deserved the way they finished, and really like outplayed us as much as they beat us 4-1 at the tournament. It was a best of 7, and I really feel like they thought that they were just this dominant team that was just going to win all these Halo 4 events. Well, my team, I guarantee, practiced the least out of any team that was there. Even Fear and Victory, they don't play often, but I probably played 20 games from Dallas to this AGL event. And the thing that helped us out most was just, Matt, Richie, and Brad and myself just got to play just that little bit to understand the game to the fullest. So we go into this AGL as a team, play in the pool play rounds and play in the bracket play, and we start to learn the game types. We literally did not play oddball more than once, either of them, and then we didn't play Abandoned Slayer at all online together. So, really just learning the game types, learning the maps, helped us out. And we just, when it came down to the finals, we were relentless. We were not gonna let up on the trash talk. We wanted to let them know what it was like that they did to us at the last event. We wanted to just prove to them that we are the better team, no questions asked. I'm pissed off we lost one game against them. I wanted to 6-0 the crap out of them, to be honest. Um, and they deserved it. They talked trash to every single team they played against the entire tournament. When I'm in the crowd and I hear Ryan Noob talking trash to Kobe, who does nothing but put in hours and hours and hours, I'm pissed. I'm pissed hearing that, and that's just gonna fire me up to play my best and make sure that they do not win. And that's how every single person on my team viewed it. And we played some amazing team Halo as well as individual Halo, and it proved it to everyone who watched the tournament.
Well, speaking of Kobe, actually, let's go through the placing over here at AGL. So we obviously had you guys' Pulse ambushing first, followed by Warriors, which they had the exact same roster from Dallas. Legendary, which was Kobe, Lunchbox, Pistola, and
Sargoth.
Sargoth. That is correct. So they, I feel, deserve a lot of credit for placing third. Obviously, they have some powerhouse people, Lunchbox, Pistola, but even Kobe and Sargoth, they both placed very well over at Dallas. Like Kobe placed, he was with Best Man, Sargoth, and I forgot the exact
Devin, I think it was.
Devin, that does sound right. They placed top 5 over at the first Dallas event. The other team I want to talk about was underrated. So obviously everyone knows Status Quo, but for those that didn't know, the Status Quo roster was what Eric said before. It was Fear, Victory, Enable, and Flamesword. But the underrated roster, this was a team of all names that I didn't really know. It was Winter, Manifest, Bullseye, and Broadside. Is that correct?
Yeah, it sounds yeah.
And tell me a bit about them, because you said you were actually very surprised with how well they did, but I guess not as surprised as myself, because you said you played against them in a local prior to this.
Yeah, me and Blaze actually 2v2'd, went to a 2v2 local against these guys, and Broadside and Bullseye, and we lost to them. So I knew that they were good players. Coming into AGL, we played their team. I knew they were going to be solid, but I kind of, I guess underrated them because they put up a lot more of a fight than we expected. We 2-0'd them in pool play. Both games came down to the wire, both extremely close. We played them in bracket play, ended up 3-0'ing them. They were up like 48-45 in a Slayer or something like that. We came back and won 50-48. It's not like, I feel like they just made some amateur mistakes. They're still young players. I know they're real young. They look young. But they have a lot of potential, and I got to give them respect. They respected the pro players. They didn't, relentlessly talk crap. But it's always nice seeing teams like that stick together because they've been together for a while and just really keep pushing to become better and beat teams like, my squad or Warriors. I'm pretty sure they are the team that knocked out Status Quo from the tournament. So, got to give them a big shout out. Just keep going. I know you guys want to be that pro status, that number 1 team. Just keep working on it, maybe you'll get there.
So I guess just do a couple last questions to finish up, but overall thoughts on AGL. Is it something, like, how crucial is this to Halo right now, especially in our fragile state, and how great was the event? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, this was the best AGL that they've hosted, without a doubt. They sold out team passes. I don't think that's happened before. People want to play competitive Halo. That's just it right there. And AGL really stepped up. They didn't give up. They're just like, if MLG's out, good. That means that we are the number 1 place for people to come and play Halo at. And that's important, as any league wants to be the most dominant, area of, like, in that game. Respect to all those guys. They are doing whatever they can to improve every single AGL. The commentators I heard were hilarious. There's the stations are all pretty nice. We had a couple, things that went wrong and slowed it down a little bit. But when has MLG been on time with all their time frames and whatnot? But I just feel like it's going to keep growing and keep getting better. And they already announced they're going to have a tournament in New Jersey. They're gonna just try to keep expanding, and I think everyone who wants to play competitive Halo really appreciates it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously we're all thankful for what MLG has done over the last 8-10 years with Halo. And even if we can't be an MLG anymore, like you said, people still want to compete. we might not be able to have the same amount of prize money or the same scale of events that we want, but eventually, hopefully, it'll pick up again at some point if
Right.
we have the right settings and some of the developer support that we need. But yeah, last thing, any shout outs who first off, what about your teammates? Because obviously I heard Formal, he won the Astro MVP at the event, correct? I'm
Yep.
sure you gotta be happy. Great performance from your teammates, even though I've also heard that you were pretty much right up there. And then obviously you have Hines. He's, always an amazing player.
Very he's a very good team player. He
Yes.
really, pushes us to play our best at all times, and I love teaming with Rich. He's always been one of my favorite teammates.
He seems to have that deep understanding of, I guess, overall team awareness, if that makes sense.
Exactly. No,
He
I
just
completely.
always knows what's going on with the bigger picture and
Mhm.
not just him as an individual. So I've always respected that about him. But yeah, what about any shout outs? Anyone you want to plug? Obviously, you already said Pulse. I think you should give them
Yeah.
another shout out. Sounds like they're doing great things to help you guys in
Mhm.
your competitive gaming.
Definitely. Yeah, just like to give a shout out to my team, my coach Tyler Hoyt, Diesel. Um, it's really good teaming with people that you love playing with and just love spending time with. We crack each other up. We'll literally stay up till 3 in the morning when we get back to the hotel room at 12, just cracking each other up the entire night, and it just really builds team chemistry. Shout out to Pulse Esports and Razor. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to make it to these tournaments. It really just helps. It's really nice having a team that's there for your back, and really it's just they were asking us the entire tournament. Is there anything we can do for you? Is there anything you guys need? It just feels good having that support behind you the whole time, pushing you, telling you, let's see what you can do. Let's get this W. Um, I guess shout outs to Arena Gaming. You're keeping the Halo alive, and I appreciate it. And like I said, all the competitive players appreciate it, and I know people love watching competitive Halo. Um, yeah, that's pretty much my shout outs for the weekend.
Where can everyone find you?
Okay, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at EDW Snip3down with a just EDWSNIPEDOWN, or you can find me on Twitch at SNIP3DOWN.
Sweet. Well, I'll put both those links in the description below. Thanks again for jumping on here. And actually, I'm gonna show everyone real quick. This is what Siren actually made for me. This is how the interview was supposed to look, but old man Walsh can't figure out this technology, so I'm gonna hopefully get this overlay working for my next Skype interview. But as of now, you'll have to deal with this. So, thanks again for coming on.
Yep, thank you.
Take care.
Bye.